This is the Muzilog magazine podcast with host Sam Archer. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Muzilog magazine podcast. I'm Sam Archer, your host. Today we're going to talk with Miss Tamara Woods. She's the filmmaker and creator for the series RN Real Nurses. She's going to talk all about creation to production. Stay tuned. Hi, Tamara. How are you?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
I'm excited.
I am too. I'm very excited.
Yes, I'm getting to speak to a filmmaker today. A filmmaker, what else they call people like you? Filmmaker.
Well, filmmaker, creator, writer.
Creator. Yeah, that's what we're going to be jamming into today. We're going to get into the mind of Tamara Woods.
Yes. Well, that sounds like a plan. So
I want to thank you for taking the time to rock with me today on the Muzilog magazine podcast. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. We're happy for having you. So what I want to start with today is the process of creating, like in reference to your show that's happening right now, RN Real Nurses. You just completed episode 2. What was it like coming up with the characters, coming up with, actually creating the drama for this? What did that look like?
Well, it actually goes all the way back several years. As you know, Sam, I am a registered nurse, and I have been a registered nurse for 20 years. And so over the time of being a registered nurse, my specialty is usually acute and chronic dialysis, but I've dove in a little bit of cardiac telemetry, med surg, community nursing, and now I'm doing case management. So how it began was, I would say, 2009. I was living in Greenville, South Carolina, and I won't make this a long, drawn-out story, but just the skinny of it is a girlfriend and I, who is also a nurse, we were out having a meal. And that was right around the time when Housewives of Atlanta was coming out, and a lot of the housewife shows were developing. And, I was actually telling her, I said, it's amazing how we see all these medical shows, but we never really see anything that pertains and scores around or, talks about the nurses. Back then it was ER. It was, everything about doctors.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, what about the nurses? We're human. We have lives too. And a lot of the medical shows that are shown as medical personnel, we say, nah, that's not how it would have happened. Or, it's really jazzed up and it's just very scripted. And I want it real. So that's how I came up with the whole concept of RN, which stands for registered nurse, but I threw my spin on it and said, let's call it Real Nurses. Real issues, real stories, real drama.
I like that. So just to tap in a little bit, did you do a little bit of drama like in high school or?
Actually, I didn't. And so my story It grows.
Okay.
I was always I'm an only child, so I was kind of shy, but also, assertive. So my girlfriend, Holly Joy Gaines, who actually will be releasing a single soon, she was in the industry as an artist and an actress. And so I was always around that world with her. And, but I never really wanted the limelight. I just was the second leg hanging out,
Behind the scenes.
Right, behind the scenes. And so I actually called her first and pitched the idea to her, and she fell in love with it.
Shout out to Holly Joy.
Exactly. And so, the next thing she said to me was, okay, well, now you got to learn how to write. And now you got to learn how to describe characters.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because a lot, especially if you're not in the industry, we see the end product. We see the excitement of the production. Many folks may not know what goes into, the work that goes into it before you get to that part of it. Where you have to sit and create the actual drama and develop the characters and so on. So when you're actually seeing it in production and you have a director and you have a camera person and lighting and you have actors on set, which is really the exciting part to see. There is some work that goes into, actually writing that up. So what was the process when after she said to you, hey, you got to learn to write?
Well, what happened is Tamara spent a whole lot of money. I went straight to Barnes & Noble, and I brought every book there was. Like, there were books, script writing for dummies, script writing and television, Bible. I mean, I bought at least 5 books on learning how to write, industry standards, what to expect in the industry. And I just studied. And I really do feel that, once I got started, I realized that I had a natural talent for it because I used to always tell stories, but I just needed the structure and the formatting. And then with 20 years of nursing, I am full of stories to tell.
I can imagine.
Exactly. And so with having other girlfriends that are nurses, I mean, the material and the content just keeps going.
In episode 1 and episode 2 of Real Nurses, are we changing the names to protect the innocent, or are we on a creative a journey, but bringing the realism to the characters? What is that like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, it's funny because we're doing a little bit of both. I have changed the names, but like one thing that Holly and I, from the very beginning, we talked about, there are certain nurses that you always see in the field. And so that was my main, subjects were the nurses that everyone can identify with, and I wanted it to keep it diverse. So we have a Jamaican nurse, we have an Asian nurse, years ago it was really a female-dominant field. Now we have males that have entered into nursing, and we have our, LGBTQ community that's in, the field of nursing. And so I tried to pull out and extract at least 5 of the different types of nurses that you would see. We have the nurse that's always very anal. And she knows everything. And, she's climbing the mountains, and it doesn't matter who she steps on, but she's going to get her done. She's that one that everywhere you go, you have that nurse that knows it all, that thinks she knows it all. She's in there. And then, so, that's what I kind of did. So, and I did change the names. To go back to your question, yes, I changed some names. But their description is there.
That's right. That's right. So that I think that's what makes it pretty juicy when you actually see the different, the different characters interacting and the storyline behind it. I'm not going to give it away on the podcast, but this is just to incite folks that's listening to the podcast to actually, jump over to the Facebook or, head to the website of RN Real Nurses, or where maybe where episode 1 is, so they can actually start getting the what do you call it, the basics, like how these characters start. So you actually created like a society, like where you have the different, like you spoke about, bringing the different types of personalities that you will see on any given Sunday at a hospital or any given day at a hospital. So, and now that we have male nurses, then we have the LGBT aspect of it as well, which is, part of our life today. So you brought that in. This is cool. So after creating so Ms. Gaines said to you, okay, you got to learn to write. You got into the writing. You worked on the script. Did you feel discouraged at certain points?
I did.
What did you do to keep? What did you do to keep the motivation going?
Well, it's amazing because each step of the way was almost like, God gave me and placed different people in my life. And so, I got the running start from Holly and the encouragement and the push. And then, so I started writing, and then along the way, I met a great individual, Michael A. Singleton. He came along, and he is already a writer, producer, director, and, he has a lot of experience. And so then he came along and kind of helped me tweak, the actual trajectory of where it should go. And so he helped me with the writing and really learning how to write. So I got it to that point that someone would even be able to flip the page and understand, where you have your dialogue opposed to your transitions and, and things like that. And so he was a big supporter of mine. He loved the idea. At first, I was going to go to the reality world because that's what was big, with the real nurses, with the housewives. And then I came back to Holly, and we had a great conversation, and she mentioned, I think you should do scripted drama because you'll have way more control. And then that way, all of the stories that are in the back of my mind of 20 plus years, I can really tell that story because you have many nurses who want to protect their careers. So if it is reality, then, ethically, morally, a lot of things can't be disclosed. And if you're going to stand on the platform, and if you're going to stand on the platform of being real, and which is setting you apart, you have to be able to show those not so good moments that you may have between patients and nurses, or nurses and doctors, or nurses with nurses, and
And it brings that realism to the story.
It does.
As stinging as it might be.
Yes, because there are some stinging moments. But again, that is my real mission here, is to really tell the real stories, because I want the public to know that we are human too.
We'll be right back.
Oh, my lover, the night island air is so sweet. Oh, won't you come and hold me close? Come on, keep me warm. Dance, 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 dance. The night air is sweet. I need you to to dance with me. Oh, pull me close, keep me warm, Papa, dance with me. The warm air is pure, for love on the island for sure. This is where I want to be, and you're here with me. This is beautiful. Oh, the night air is sweet. I need you to dance with me. Oh, pull me close, keep me warm, Papa, dance with me. The touch of your hand on my body as we start to dance, oh, makes my heart fill with love. You know you got my heart, I love you so. Oh, the night air is sweet. I need you to dance with me.
We have to come home every day and deal with the same issues, same drama that an everyday person does, whether it's financial, physical, medically, social, mental. But we have to put on a different face when we enter that hospital. All of our problems go out the window.
You put your
We
game
can't
face
bring them
on.
in. Yes, you got to put your game face on, your hospital face on, your ethic face, your moral face.
Yeah. What was it like doing the casting, getting the casting out? Did you do more of a hands-on with the casting? Did you just scrape some actors up and say, let's run down with this? What was that process like?
Well, again, that's where Michael Singleton came in, and I held my first casting call here in Charlotte. And it's interesting because with life as a nurse, I finished my first script totally in 2010. No, let me back up. I would say it got completed around 2000 and maybe 14. Something like that, 2014. But then I sent it to a guy in New York who kind of helped me get it up to industry standards, and format it where it was perfect. And so, and I sat on it for at least 2 to 3 years. So, a lot of people say that there are scripts that are done and ready to go, but you sit on it for a minute because life happened. And so I was done with it 2014, really didn't do anything with it until 2016, 17 is when, I really started saying, okay, let me, get the ball rolling. But it was completed and done. But so to go back to the casting, Michael and I held a casting call here in Charlotte. And, we blasted it on Facebook, we blasted it on Twitter and Instagram and word of mouth. And I tell you, each character or each person that came in fit the part.
Okay.
I mean, they fit the part. It was like I did not have to cut anyone. I didn't have to say or choose between 5 and 6 people. It was just amazingly how they were handpicked. I mean, and how, yes. And it's like people would contact me and go, oh, someone said that you're having a casting call. I would love to be in it. And the one person that I needed, that would be them. Like the one cast member that I needed that was left, that was them.
Wow. That must be amazing. Amazing. You've done episode 1 and you just completed episode 2.
Right.
let's talk about actually getting the production going. So you've had two different directors.
Yeah.
What was it like working with the first director and the second director, or actually acquiring the directors? Like, what's the backstory of that?
Okay. Well, and that's interesting too, because I lived in Greenville, South Carolina, which that's how all this developed. I was living there. And then I was working here in Charlotte at Novant facility here in Charlotte. And so I was commuting back and forth, but I was actually trying to get into the film community up here in Charlotte. And so I knew a young lady who connected me with Micah Lord, and he's my first director on episode 1. And so him and I connected, but I wasn't really ready for Micah because I was still in that transition period of developing it, getting it together, and I was still in Greenville. And so when I finally moved to Charlotte, which was in 2012, I got here to Charlotte, and, we got everything up and going and running. That's when I said, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. Well, when you ask about production, I had no money. I have no money.
You had faith.
I had faith and prayers.
Amen. It works.
And it does. It does. And also being and having a good mother, because she is the one, my mother, Tamara Woods, shout out to Mom. She is the one who invested in me and into my first project.
Amen. Amen.
Yes. So that's how I was able to get the first episode started. And then Micah Lorick, he came along and was able to acquire a crew, which was a great crew. We had great long nights of fun and shooting and filming. And so it's amazing how God put in place the facility that we used as the medical clinic. Shout out to Pauline Parker, who's an aunt of mine. She
Hi, Pauline.
ran.
Hi, Auntie.
Yes, hi, Auntie. Hi, Auntie. She owns a medical clinic, and it's amazing. It's just amazing how it got done. I met her here in Charlotte at a hospital that I worked at, and she had nursing students that were doing their clinicals there.
Oh, okay. Wow. It all came together. That's nice.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how each step of the way God was just placing the right person at the right time.
Amen. Well, and then you just did episode 2, and I think that's the one that's buzzing, getting some buzz, I believe.
Yes. Yes. So then I finished episode 1. That got us on the map, YouTube. I ended up having, so Sam, where do you come in at? Did I meet you with episode 1 or 2? Because I don't remember.
Why are you giving it away? You're giving it away.
I'm sorry, because I'm telling you, God put everybody in.
Well, we met a little bit way before episode 1. But I helped you with episode 1 with the scoring and some editing. I did some scoring for you and some editing. Well, you gave it away. I want to interview you.
I know. I'm so sorry.
All right.
I want to give all of the accolades out to the people who God has blessed this project and blessed me with. So I'm just thinking, because I'm going, okay, I know I left some people out. So I was headed to episode 2, and then, so episode 2, I ended up meeting, I've always have known Fraser Prince, because Fraser Prince is the one who connected me with the guy in New York, and him and I were friends with Tanya Payton, so it's a long story. So then Fraser was always like my mentor up until even still now, but he came in with episode 1 only as a person that said, okay, we got to get you up to industry standards with the writing portion.
Okay.
So then, since we completed episode 1, got that done, pushed that out, I'm talking to Frasier months later, and I said, I need to complete the second part of episode 1, which is now episode 2. I need to complete that because it stopped and you don't know the end of it. So then Frasier said, okay, I'll come on board. I begged him. Bribed him. bribed him.
You bribed him. Okay.
And I think it might be just with my looks because I haven't paid him a penny yet.
Okay.
But it's a promise.
He's gonna crack up when he hears this too.
It's a promise check. I'm telling you, I got a promise check and a faith check is coming.
Well.
He said he would do it for me. And amazingly, he brought on board the ultimate Lamont Burrell.
Okay. And then Lamont is one of the top guys in the game. Also a lot of major directors out there. So, so your game has definitely stepped up on episode 2.
This is Muzilog Magazine podcast with host Sam Archer. We'll be right back.
Oh, why, oh, why, oh, why? Oh, I wonder why I'm lying in my bed. Thoughts of you going through my head. I just want you to know it's just a real man flow. It looks bad when a man get used and the girlfriend go. I never know what fall for you, girl. I thought I was a one-night stand, and I'd never get to be that man. I never know what fall for you, girl. I thought I was a one-night stand, and I'd never get to be that man. Oh yeah, everything went so easy that night. Think we went ahead only cause the vibes right. We had a few drinks, had a few laughs. I think we had a good time. Girl, you never even call back. With all them things we want with, girl, you couldn't tell me I ain't know that. But reminiscing made me smile. Oh girl, I need you in my life. I never knew what fall for you, girl. I thought I was a one-night stand, and I'd never get to be that man. I never knew what fall for you, girl. I thought I was a one-night stand, and I'd never get to be that man. Oh yeah. Listen me, girl, it's different for a man. From you give me that good thing, me I go want it back. Or you fi please me, then you leave me, girl. Or you fi do me that. Me straight up, baby, you breach your contract. Pop me on the side, left me for this.
But you know what I like though? I like when this is just from me personally. Because I like to see growth when, so you as a filmmaker, you have the first episode and then you have the second one and you can see, little differences, but then it shows that there's growth. It shows that there's a wanting to perfect the craft. You want to perfect the craft, you want to perfect the acting, you want to perfect the timing, just everything. But you had to start from somewhere. You had to have that first episode and just get the experience, just to, to be in the creative the creator's chair to see this thing come to life. So now you've been through those 2 episodes. I mean, I could imagine that the sky is the limit for episode 3. Whenever.
Well, here's the thing, and I thank you for that because honestly, I really did have to do some rewriting, because we lost a couple of cast members, and so I had to actually, do a 360, and I'm actually amazed myself at the short amount of time of my writing and how my mind transitioned from learning from, the guys that Frasier brought in to help me. And with Michael and, Frasier, my mind and my ability to write shifted. And so that's where you see the change in my writing and in my thinking for episode 2, because episode 2 was basically done. And when I lost the first director, went with the second director and lost several, 2 cast members, what do I do?
Well,
so I had to rewrite.
Yeah, it happens. And the fact that you can, shift gears is also another skill that a creator has to, or a writer has to develop, because anything can happen. You got to come up with a way to make everything work smoothly, without the person that's looking, without the viewer really losing touch with the story.
Exactly.
So that's a skill. That's an amazing skill right there. So yeah, this is great. So how can folks see the episodes? So what can folks do to check in and check you out?
Well, you can always find RN Real Nurses on YouTube. The first episode, the full episode, is on YouTube, and it's broken down into 6 parts. You can also find RN Real Nurses on Roku. Everyone who has Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick TV, all you have to do is download Ambizion TV, and you can see episode 1 and 2 there. And that's our first parent network that picked us up. That, like I told God, a network is a network, So thank God for her being interested in the content. Her name is Demetria Stewart, and she's out there in L.A., California. Dee Dee Stewart, she owns Ambizion TV. And then just recently, God added another network through the hands of one of my cast members. His name is Brent Gastons. He has been an integral part in connecting me with these 2 young ladies. So the second network is called On Point Network. You can go to your Play Store and download on the On Point Channel network, and you can see the first episode there. She just picked us up. So, actually, if you want to follow along, download there, because you can start from the beginning. YouTube, you can find us. Facebook, we're on Facebook as RN Real Nurses. And then you can also find us on Instagram, and we are RN_Real Nurses. So we're all over the map.
Amen. And so quickly, what's next for Tamara Woods? I'm sure you're writing episode 3, but are you planning to branch out in something else, or are you just pretty much concentrating on working on episode 3 at this time?
Well, a good writer, and I did learn this from Michael Singleton, Frasier, Prince, they've always said you should always have several episodes already written. So I do have several episodes already written, whether we lose cast members and we have to tweak it, but I do have several. I'm ready to go. If a big network picks us up, I'm ready. The next step for me is, premieres. I really want to get it out there with the premieres and also in film festivals. So we plan to enter the Poconos Film Festival this year. We were going to enter the Raleigh one and the Tribeca one, but, with everything that's going on now with this virus, some of the large events are being canceled. So, but that's our next step, and our next level is to enter film festivals. We need funding and investors and sponsors. I need to do some footage with that and, get that ball rolling as well. So, you are the man. So you just got yourself a job. Tag, you're it.
Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. there's actually a GoFundMe presently in operating right now, right?
Well, there's the GoFundMe that's up, and, you know, I don't know how long that'll be down, but I specifically put that and generated that up only for, like, the premieres and to get that going and to get a second episode going. Because, like I said, you know, my mother was generous, and she was such a blessing to fund the first episode. The second episode was off of a paycheck budget. And so it was paycheck to paycheck, my 401k, you know, things that so, you know, Medicare's going to have to take care of me because I've been exhausted all
the time. You got to find a way. Please support our indie filmmakers. You're helping to bring beautiful art to life, you know, so we definitely want to. This has been a really great conversation.
Thank you. Because, and you know, the medical field, we do so much. And as nurses, doctors, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, the PAs, the NPs, even the CNAs and lab. I mean, I could go on and name all the disciplines. You know, we play a major part in people and their loved ones' lives when they come into the hospital. And I just want to tell that story. I want to tell those intimate, emotional moments. And some trying and some highs and lows, but those are the stories that I want to tell.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging out with the Muzilog magazine podcast.
Thank you. Much success to you as well.
Well, thank you. Highly appreciated.
You're welcome.
Stay safe. Don't get sick out there.
I won't. And to everyone coming from a nurse, hygiene, hand hygiene. Also, please, social distancing is not a bad thing. And also, one thing that I say, listen to your body. If you feel sick, your body tells you. We always ask our patients, you tell me because you know your body best. All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Be sure to visit our website, muzilog.com. MUZILOG, muzilog.com, where music, entertainment, and culture live.